Merrilies. This is a poem about a gypsy who lives in the malls. She sleeps in the wilderness in the open. She eats in a frugal manner and meals consisting of swat blackberries, not apples, not currant, but pods plucked off brooms, grass in the wild. As for her wine, she drinks the dew of the wild white rose. The only thing that she can read is the epitaph in the churchyard grave stones. In her book, A Churchyard Tomb. She has no family, and she considers her brothers to be the craggy hills and her sisters to be the larching trees. And she lives a very simple life, the way that it pleases her. She has a lot of liberty among her great family to enjoy life the way she deems necessary. Despite her full liberty, life seems very difficult for her as she goes through many days without a decent meal. In the absence of dinner and breakfast, she will stay awake staring at the moon, and remains resilient and unperturbed in her daily routine. She makes garlands out of weaves, out of twining circled with fragrant flowers every night. She weaves the needle like yew leaves with her hands and sings while doing this. She also plaits mats from grass. She gives away the mats generously to the cottage dwellers who live in the wilderness too. Finally, she tells us that she is a brave woman and a woman full of valor like Queen Margaret. And she looks like an Amazon, the race of women warriors. She wears an old red blanket cloak, a cheap hat to show her simplicity and miserable life. The speaker prays that the God grants her old bones eternal rest, and she had died a long time ago. This is a poem that deals about folklore of the Romantic period. And the ballads were designed for light-hearted entertainment. The focus is on the carefree or laissez-faire or merry lifestyle as opposed to people entrapped in the system. The gypsy woman is a wanderer who lives in the wilderness. The fact that her wine is dew of the wild wet rose contrasts city and rural life. The trees and hills are personified to become Meg's family. The natural surrounding is sketched vividly to transmit Meg's total loneliness. Nevertheless, she has freedom to move and experiences happiness wherever she finds herself. Above all, she lives on her own terms. No one dictates what life should look like to her. All Meg's impoverished state is amplified by the fact that she could go hungry without breakfast or supper and stares at the moon contemplating. Unbelievably, she is disciplined and full of generosity. She weaves mats which she gives to the cottagers who show appreciation. Lastly, she's given a dignified and powerful image of a woman who is loved by the rural folk for her statuesque personality. The poem is about simplicity in nature and generosity. The poem is also about goodness and all that is positive about life. Keats draws his images from flowers, wild grass, and a few human beings that fit in the narration. Keats' emphasis is on the gypsy's carefree and merry-making life. There is also emphasis on Meg's loneliness and mysterious life. She prefers to stare at the moon rather than have supper, which is simply worldly pleasure.